Next slide. Okay, so what is a healthy eating style? The first thing is that you want to focus on variety, amount, and nutrition. And no matter what the pictures of ladies laughing with salads tries to tell you, eating healthy does not mean eating salads at every meal. And one of our biggest reasons that we give up on our healthy goals to eat healthier is because we get bored. So you want to think about that variety whenever you're choosing healthy options to keep things interesting and to eat things that you actually enjoy. You also want to look to decrease your intake of saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars because those can lead to increased weight gain as well as increased risk for chronic diseases. And you also want to start with small changes. So completely changing your entire diet overnight is going to kind of give you a little bit of whiplash. It's not going to feel good. So I don't recommend doing that. I recommend starting with small shifts, small changes. So if you normally eat white bread, but you actually kind of like whole wheat bread, you can start getting your sandwiches on whole wheat bread. If that's not for you, you want to maybe shift your milkshake to a fruit smoothie. That can be a way for you to get some added fruits and kind of reduce that added sugar in your diet. And the last picture that we have here, I think is genius because I'm the type of person that if I really love something, I'm gonna get it on my plate. So, if you really love chicken tenders, that's, your go-to comfort meal, but you could do without the French fries. You can get a side of fruit, maybe some yogurt, kind of boost that nutrition of your plate and get some more food groups in there. And that's a great way to make a small shift. The best vitamin and mineral is variety. So these are a lot of options here for fruits and vegetables. But the point of this slide is to show you guys that, fresh fruits and veggies are wonderful and they are at their highest peak nutrient value when they're in season. But if they're not in season and you want, some mango per se, and it's not mango season, grabbing some frozen mango from the frozen grocery section is just as good and sometimes even better, nutrient-wise. And then if you don't have time to cook beans from dry beans, that's totally fine. You can get canned beans or canned vegetables, whatever you prefer. And just look for a lower sodium or no sodium added option. And then that way you don't really have to worry about any added ingredients that you're not looking for. Same goes with frozen things. There are a lot of frozen fruit mixtures that I've seen recently, and usually it's just plain fruit, like they don't add any ingredients, and those are the things that you want to look for. I'm the type of person to buy frozen fruit, and then use it over the course of time to make smoothies or throw it in some oatmeal, things like that. So, you don't have to always buy fresh fruits and vegetables. You can get it frozen or canned, and it's still just as good for you. And so I just wanted to quickly go over some resources that are available to you as UGA Dining Services meal plan participants. We do have monthly nutrition posters. If you haven't seen those yet, they are in O House, Village Summit, and then they're usually also in Snelling, but Snelling is just open for Grubhub right now. But those are changed monthly and they have lots of really cool nutrition information. If your screen is big enough, hopefully you can read. It says an apple a day. This one's about, I think it's mostly just apples, but it's also talking about fruits and things like that. So just look around in the dining halls to see if you can find some cool nutrition information. We also have the nutrition education stations, which we've talked about in previous class. There is a Build Your Plate iPad located there that you can go and look up the nutrition information for food in the dining halls at that iPad. There are also nutrition brochures in all of the dining halls. And the picture there is an example of one of them. This one is about freshman 15. But there's a lot of information about calcium, caffeine, veggies, eating vegetarian, anything like that. So definitely check those out if you haven't seen those before. Another really great resource, especially because social media is just such a big, great, wonderful thing right now, is the Instagram for UGA Dining. So not only are you going to get updates on whether something's open or closed or specials that we're serving, we also post a lot of nutrition information on that Instagram. So that could be a great way to have just, you know, a pop of information on your Instagram while you're scrolling, just enjoying yourself. We also have nutrition counseling with Catherine Ingerson, who's our registered dietitian, and that's free to you. So if you want to meet with her, you can send her an email. We have free one-on-one advisement with P&Es, and these are the peer nutrition educators. This is the picture of them this year. It's not everybody, because we couldn't get everybody all at once, but I think it's so cute. They have their matching black masks on. But they are, like I said, peer nutrition educators. So they are undergraduate students who are studying nutrition that can give you advice on nutrition information, and you know, they can help you sort between certain things at the grocery store if you ever have any kind of questions like that. And then lastly, we have cooking classes at the health center. And that's not with dining services, but I think it's a really good thing to note. I think they're virtual right now, but I think they are still available. So you can always look that up. And then just quickly going over Build Your Plate again. If you haven't seen this yet, Build Your Plate is on UGA Dining Services website. It is, you know, if you just type in UGA Dining and search for Build Your Plate, there's a tab over here at the top. Hopefully you guys can see my mouse. But you can look up the nutrition information, the ingredients, and the allergens for everything served in the dining commons. And then if you click on one of the recipes here, it brings up the nutrition information like this. It won't be a pop-out bubble like that. It just kind of changes pages, but that's what it looks like. And then an easy way to find healthy options in the dining halls is just looking at the menu symbols. We have a heart healthy menu symbol that is put on the menu tags in the dining halls. And the heart healthy symbol means that there is less than 10% of saturated fat, less than 0.5 grams of trans fat, less than 480 milligrams of sodium, and less than 8 grams of added sugars in that item per serving. So you really don't even have to think that hard. If you just want to find something healthy, look for that heart healthy symbol, put it on your plate, and you are good to go. I also listed some of the other symbols that you might see on the menu tags, the meatless, vegan, and taste of home recipes. So meatless and vegan, meatless just means that there's no meat. Vegan means that there are no animal products at all, so that there won't be any eggs, there won't be any milk, there won't be any honey or gelatin or anything like that. So if you follow either of those diets, then those symbols are going to be helpful for you. And then Taste of Home is parent or family submitted recipes that we've chosen. They were winners and we love their recipes so much that we added it to our menu. So those are really good, usually like comfort food items if you want a taste of home. So you can always check those out too. So what is a healthy plate? I took a picture of my plate last week when I was re-editing this presentation to kind of show you guys what a healthy plate might look like. And, you know, this is not the end all be all. This is not what you obviously have to eat every single day to be healthy. But it is an example. It's a good visual example of what a healthy plate might look like. And what I tried to do here was get all of the food groups, and you'll see that I actually did succeed at doing that. So the orange over here on the bottom left is obviously part of the food group, or fruit group, excuse me. And then I have two veggies. The left orange looking thing there is a carrot and coriander puree. It's mashed potatoes and carrots pureed together, and then it has some really tasty seasonings. And it's kind of like a sneaky way to add some veggies to your mashed potatoes. If you haven't tried that yet, it's very delicious, highly recommend. And then we have sauteed green beans and peppers, the red bell peppers. It's kind of like a sweet but savory dish. If you haven't tried that, also very yummy. This is one of my favorite plates, so I'm just gonna say that about all of them. And then lastly, we have the Soy Divine Casserole. This one is a little bit higher in sodium and saturated fat, so I try to make sure I pay attention to portions on it, but it does have 3 food groups in it. It's made of macaroni noodles, which are a grain, and then it's also got some cheese and some, I think it's multiple kinds of cheese in there. So we've got our dairy, and then it's got soy veggie crumbles. So if you've never had that before, it's kind of like ground beef crumbles, but they're made of soy, so they're vegetarian. And so there's my protein. So I've got all of the food groups on my plate here. But obviously you don't have to get every single food group on every single plate. The goal is kind of to shoot for about three-ish food groups, and you should be good. And then I also took a box and moved all of my food over into that box. It's the exact same amount of food. I just moved it into the box so that you could see what that plate might look like in a different container, because I know sometimes you take it to go, sometimes you eat in the dining hall. One thing I also wanted to note is that if you don't specify, the server will usually put about 2 scoops. So the carrot coriander puree and the Soy Divine Casserole was 2 scoops on my plate. And so that means that the nutrition for Build Your Plate, I might need to double it to be more accurate. If I'm, counting any kind of nutrition, maybe trying to keep my sodium low. But I was totally okay with 2 scoops because, like I said, this is one of my favorite meals. And I tend to eat a bigger lunch during the day, and then at home I have kind of a smaller dinner. So it really just depends on you. Pay attention to your hunger and fullness whenever you're eating, and you can kind of decide like how much of a portion do I really need of this item. So how much does that hold? I didn't have time to turn this into a game. I thought about it at the last second. I feel like I definitely should have done that, but next time I will remember. But I wanted to figure out how much does each of our containers in the dining hall hold? And before the whole world shut down, we had physical plastic or glass containers that you could serve yourself in. Not a whole lot of disposable things. So we knew the measurements for those. That was pretty stuck in my brain. But once we got these, I was like, I'm not really sure how much each of these holds. So what I did was I grabbed a couple of them from the dining hall and I looked them up just to see how much each of those items holds. And the reason why this is important is because, even eating a good healthy item, a food group, even eating a little bit too much of that can be detrimental. So you want to pay attention to those portions. So the first item was the chicken salad and hummus cup, and I'm holding it here just so you can see kind of like how big it is to scale. But this one holds 4 ounces or half a cup. And usually it holds chicken salad, hummus, or oil and vinegar. You can ask for oil and vinegar at the salad station to make your own salad dressing. But you can use this for anything. If you see it on the line, you can ask them for it empty, or you can ask them to serve you in one of these cups if you just want a half cup portion of something. The next one is our fruit cup. We're usually using this for fruit, and it actually is 9 ounces, so it's slightly more than 1 cup. So usually a portion of fruit is 1 cup. So if you don't, fill it over the top, you'll probably get about a cup of fruit if you put your fruit in here. But like I said, you can use this for anything. The next one is our hot drinks cup. So you can put coffee, tea, hot chocolate, cappuccinos, whatever you'd like, hot drinks in here. The reason why I wanted to bring this one is because despite the fact that it says 10 ounces on the cup already, I didn't realize how much this was, because as you can see, it's pretty small. Like, it's kind of wider, but it's a short cup. So I assumed that this was less than a cup. Whenever I was getting my coffee, I was getting a lot more than I thought. So it kind of helped me to know how much I'm actually getting, so that I don't accidentally drink too much coffee and get really jittery during the day. And then the next one is our soup and oatmeal cup. This is 1.5 cups or 12 ounces. You can use this for anything, but usually soups and oatmeal go in this one, and it's kind of a bigger bowl, really good and sturdy too. And then we have our big bowl. This one is at all of the salad stations, and then at Lemongrass Kitchen in Bolton, they serve the food in this larger bowl. This is 4 cups, so 32 ounces can go in here. So think about that whenever you're making your plate. I know for me, I would go and get a full box of food, and then I'm like, I don't have very many vegetables, so I want to go get myself a salad. And then I would end up getting a full thing of salad, not realizing that it was so much. And then halfway through the meal, I was stuffed, and I'm like, what's going on? This is barely any food, but really it was a lot. So this is 4 cups. If you do want to avoid that and you still want to get like a nice side salad, you can always ask them to do less in here. Just tell them that you're doing a small salad that day. And I also have a plate, so comparison wise, it's pretty big. So that is all of our serving cups and bowls. And to kind of recap, what a healthy plate might be is trying to get all of your food groups and finding something that's a bit more sustainable for you. So think about that. Paying attention to portion sizes. So if you definitely feel like, you know, once you're done eating, you're overstuffed and you feel like you ate too much, try to pay more attention to the portion sizes and maybe go with a little bit less and see how that feels. And then find healthy foods that you love. So shifting to a healthier lifestyle can really only be maintained if it's reasonable and sustainable for you. Healthier eating can be more sustainable if we're eating things that we actually like. So try out different foods, try different veggies, fruits, protein, grains, and dairy sources, and try a variety just to see what you like. And that can kind of help you build your repertoire of things that you like, so that you don't end up eating grilled chicken and rice and veggies every single day. You know, that's fine to a degree, but you want to get a little bit more variety in your diet. All right, so specifically for the dining hall, I went ahead and got some pictures from Catherine of some examples of plates that we have seen in the dining halls. So this one is a pork chop with onions on top and then 2 veggies. We've got roasted carrots and asparagus, and then mashed potatoes with sun-dried tomatoes in it. So we've got 2 veggies and 1 protein. So we are missing our dairy and we're missing a fruit. And I don't think there's much of a grain on like the breading for the protein there. So probably use a grain. So think about things that you could add to this plate, like yogurt, a cup of milk, a cup of fruit, or a whole orange, or whatever you like. The next one is, I believe this is our jerk turkey on the lower side here. So that's a lean protein. And then over here, we've got Sog Tofu, which is a tofu stir-fry. It's kind of stir-fried with spinach, and then it's got some really wonderful seasonings in it. It's an Indian dish, a lot of great flavors. And if you're not really comfortable eating spinach, if that's something that you don't super love the flavor of, this is a great way to try spinach in other ways, because it's not super vegetable-y flavored. It just kind of has the flavor of all of the seasonings in there. So try that out. And then over here on the top left, we have some steamed cauliflower, and this is just plain steamed cauliflower. I remember whenever I first started coming to the dining halls, the plain steamed veggies were kind of a scary concept for me, because I grew up always adding some kind of salt or butter or even just seasonings to vegetables, but a lot of vegetables actually taste really, really good just plain steamed. And cauliflower, I think, is one of the top for me. So steamed cauliflower, excellent. And then we've got that carrot coriander puree again, which we've talked about already. Oops, sorry. And then on our right side here, we have an example from Lemongrass Kitchen that is in Bolton upstairs. It's the Asian station that we have, and we've got a lot of really unique flavors up there. But on the top area over here is a tofu vegetable stir fry. And then I believe this is a piece of chicken in the middle. And then the bottom half is some sauteed greens. I think it's kale, onions, and bell peppers. So we've got a lot of protein, a lot of veggies. And then if we have some rice underneath or some noodles, that will add a grain. And if we want to add some fruit on the side or some dairy, we can make it more of a balanced plate. And then of course, you can always still eat a salad as a meal. You may want to add a protein like some boiled eggs or some grilled chicken or tofu. Adding some cheese here, we have feta cheese that can add some dairy to the meal, and it kind of just rounds out the flavor, makes it feel more hearty, makes it feel more like a meal. Yeah, these are some wonderful options in the dining halls. And then these are some everyday items that we've talked about already in Catherine's presentation, so I won't spend too much time here. Lots of stuff is available every day, including skim milk. We actually just brought back a lot of bulk items, so the milk is now in bulk. You don't have to take a to-go milk with you anymore. And we also brought the cereals back in bulk, so you can get a bit more of a variety with the cereal than we had before. So as you can see, we have Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios, Frosted Mini Wheats, Raisin Bran Crunch, and granola. Those are all some really good whole grain options to have, and they're easy. You can, take them to go, eat them dry if you want to. And then the salad bar is obviously a great place to look for fresh veggies and fruit. We have some pre-made dressings right now, but you can also make your own dressing with the vinaigrette or the vinegar and oil. Make yourself a vinaigrette with that. You can also put hummus on it. Things like that are a really great way to make your own salad dressing if you don't love the ones that we have here. I also have a picture of sour cream and Greek yogurt. So not a lot of people realize that sour cream and Greek yogurt kind of have a very similar flavor, but they are very different nutritionally. And the reason why I bring it up is because you can put sour cream on your tacos, but did you know you could also use Greek yogurt instead? Why would you do that? So sour cream is made from just the cream of milk, so it's mostly just the fat. You might get a little bit of calcium, but not a whole lot, and not very much protein either. But Greek yogurt is going to have a whole lot of protein because it's taking all the protein from the milk, and then it's also going to have the calcium. So you can make that swap and see how it tastes, but you're really boosting the nutrition of your tacos. I usually put it in spicy things, Greek yogurt, because it kind of calms down the spice of it. So we have an Indian garbanzo bean dish. I think it's currently on the menu. If not, it comes back in the next menu. That one is great with Greek yogurt. It really calms down the spice because I can't handle spice all the time. And then some dessert options. In Summit, we have real fruit smoothies, and you can see all the nutrition information for that. Some of them are a little bit higher in sugar, but if you're not eating a ton of sugar in the day, then this is totally fine. You don't have to worry about that at all. Yogurt parfaits, we don't have them already pre-made, but all of the ingredients are available currently in the dining halls. So you can grab yourself one of these lovely 1-cup cups and throw some Greek yogurt in there, some granola, and some fruit. You can do dried fruit or fresh and make yourself a yogurt parfait. And if you finish your meal and you notice that you're still a little bit hungry and you're like, should I get dessert? And you haven't had fruit yet today or that day, try and grab some fruit first. It's likely that your body is asking for that fruit and not the cookie that you're thinking about. So grab your grab your fruit first, and then if you're still hungry after that, for sure, grab yourself a cookie. And I did put the calorie information of the cookies on here because right now they are packed together in 2. So if you're leaving the dining halls every single time with 2 cookies, it does add up. So just think about that. And then some beverage options that are great if you're trying to shift to healthier options are just plain filtered water, or you can add some of the flavoring in the freestyle machines, or just fresh fruit is also a really great option. We also have regular dairy milk, but we have soy and almond milk available. And then what about if you're eating at one of the retail locations on campus? At Uga Dining, we actually have a lot of built-in wholesome options. Like at the Athena Mediterranean Grill, we have some falafel fritters. And if you've never had falafel, it is chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and they're smashed, and then you put some seasoning in it. And then they're usually pan fried. I think the ones that we have here might be deep fried, so just keep that in mind. But there are also lean meats available like chicken, and lots of Mediterranean flavors usually incorporate fresh veggies automatically. So you're gonna find a lot of fresh veggies at this location. And then Eastside Deli is over in the same building as Village Summit, but downstairs on east side of campus. They have build your own salads and wraps, and obviously plenty of fresh veggies that you can put in those. And if you want to stop by Niche Pizza Co., that is awesome. We love it there. But if you want to boost the nutrient quality of your pizza, go ahead and throw some veggies on there. Literally, I think the best way to try to eat more veggies, if you just absolutely hate veggies, put them on a pizza. You will like them. And they also have acai bowls over there. So if you've never had that, it's a type of fruit. It's blended up in kind of like a smoothie form, and you usually eat it out of a bowl, I think. It's been a while since I've had it, so it's good stuff though. And then if you want to go over to Chick-Fil-A, they have some awesome healthier options if you want to check out their menu online, but I threw a couple up here. They have a market salad, which is just normal old salad, but they add nuts, they add fruit, they add lots of extra veggies. There's cabbage on there, which actually helped me realize that I really like fresh cabbage. I hadn't really ever had it fresh before, but on that salad, they have fresh cabbage, and it's really, really tasty. And you can get that with grilled chicken, or you could get it with no chicken if you'd like, if you just want it to be plain. They have Greek yogurt parfaits, just like we do in the dining halls. They have grilled nuggets as well. And then, you know, like I said, if you have things that you absolutely love, and if you're going to Chick-fil-A for that fried chicken, for the, you know, the chicken sandwich or the nuggets, whatever it is, if you're going for that, then you should get that. But you can find some balance in your plate by swapping those fries out for a fruit cup or a side salad. Or if you absolutely must have the fries as well, you could try going without the soda and just getting some water, or vice versa. You can get the soda instead of the fries, and just find certain ways to shift your plate a little bit healthier. So Barbaritos is our burrito location on campus. It's in Tate. You can choose whole grain tortillas to boost the whole grain content of your meal. I think they also have brown rice over there, but not entirely sure. You could also get that in a bowl. And then they have some lean proteins like tofu, turkey, and fish. And then if you want to add beans and veggies, that's going to add some fiber to your meal, and obviously plenty of vegetables. And then salsa is a vegetable. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's made of tomatoes and other veggies, and it's just, you know, pureed up into a sauce. So add that to your meal to give it plenty of flavor, and then go light on the cheese, because that can add quite a bit of saturated fat and sodium. And then if you want to go to Panda Express, I'm not super familiar with Panda Express, but looks like we have some fans. I see. Apparently they have something called Walk Smart items. I had to look up their menu, but they also have entrees with veggies and whole grains. So if you maybe don't like the Walk Smart item, which is kind of a lower calorie option, you can just choose stuff with veggies and whole grains in it, and it's still going to help you get those food groups in. And typically with retail or takeout food, they kind of give you a little bit more than if you maybe were to serve yourself. So you might even be able to spread that meal over 1 to 2 meals. just kind of listen to your hunger and fullness cues and see how it feels. And, you know, if you're super hungry that day and you can eat it all in one sitting, that's totally fine. But sometimes people find that they, you know, can split it in half and eat one for lunch and then one for the other lunch. And then these locations all kind of have similar options. There are coffee locations. So we have Einstein Bros, Starbucks, Jittery Joe's, and All on Pan. They have a lot of really interesting options. I was surprised that they had quite a few fresh veggies and fruits that you could grab, sandwiches and salads that you could add those to. And then Starbucks has protein boxes, which are made of fruits and veggies and cheese, and they had whole grain crackers in there as well. So those are really good for snacks if you wanted to grab something for when you're studying or between meals. Just look for things that check off the boxes of your food groups. And then if you want to get some coffee, you can order your favorite drink without the sugar or the syrup or whipped topping, and that can help you cut the added sugar. And then if you find that it's still a little bit too bitter for you, you can always add the sugar yourself as needed. And you'll likely find that you're going to be adding a whole lot less than they would. Yeah. And then the last one we have is the sushi at Fujisan. So a lot of people don't realize that sushi can actually be a really healthy option because it has rice, which is a grain, some veggies, and then there are lean protein options like fish. Sometimes there's chicken as well. So that's a good way for you to get some food groups in, but just keep in mind of what the sushi is made of. So if it's a tempura option, like tempura shrimp or tempura chicken, that means that it's fried, so that can add a bit of saturated fat to your meal, as well as if they have cream-based sauces or cream cheese, that'll add a little bit of saturated fat to it overall. So if you want to get something like that, like I actually just had something with I had sushi just last night and it had a cream-based sauce on it. And so if I wanted that roll and another roll, I could go for something a little lighter for the other roll. So one roll is typically 6 to 8 pieces, and I would say most people don't feel full after eating just one roll. So pay attention to how you're feeling, but usually you can add something like fruit or veggies. You can get some sauteed veggies on the side to kind of fill you up for the rest of the meal, or you can go for 2 rolls if you like. Like I was saying, you know, you can get your cream-based sauce one and then your lighter one, or 2 light ones if you really just like the plain sushi rolls. And then they actually just added boba tea over at Fujisan, and that is high-key one of my favorite things on this planet is boba tea, so I'm excited to go get that. But you can actually ask them, I talked to them today, you can ask them to adjust the sweetness whenever you're ordering. So if you maybe had a dessert already that day and you want to go for something a little less sweet, you can ask them to adjust the sweetness. I typically do that just because I don't super love a really sweet drink. So I'll ask for, light sweetness or medium sweetness, and that can help cut the sugar as well. And so lastly, we have some general eating out tips. So if you're ordering takeout, think to yourself, what are the food groups that we could add to the meal? What's missing? You can always add those veggies or fruits as toppings or sides by ordering them as part of your order, if that's available. You can eat your fruit or veggies beforehand to help you avoid overeating. So one good tip that Catherine reminded me of is if you say you order some pizza to your apartment or to your dorm, before the pizza gets there while you're waiting, you're starving, you can have your fruit that you took from the dining hall or bought from the grocery store, and you can eat that while you're waiting. It's kind of like a little appetizer. You're getting your food groups in, and then once the pizza gets there, you're not starving and ravenous, and then you won't accidentally eat the entire pizza in one sitting. And then another great option is to just keep those sides on hand. So if you really like to have fresh vegetables with your wings or your pizza or whatever you're having. You can keep those in your dorm in a mini fridge, or you can go for some dried options. So they have dried fruits and vegetables in the store now that you can look for. You also want to think about frequency when you're eating out. If you have takeout several times a week, it can make it difficult to get your necessary vitamins and minerals. So pay attention if you're staying on campus to study every single night and you always get takeout, you may be missing out on some important food groups. And then you want to think about portions. Like I said earlier, you may end up with enough food to spread it over 2 days in meals, especially if you add your own fruit and veggies to the meal. It kind of helps you spread it out, and it's actually a more cost-effective way to eat out as well, because you're not spending quite so much money buying food both days. You're spreading it out over 2. And then you can always ask for your veggies separately if you prefer them that way. So if you're building your burrito at Barbaritos and you like the corn salsa, but you don't really like it in the burrito, you can always ask for it on the side, and then you're still getting that delicious, wonderful corn salsa. Customization is widely available now, so don't feel afraid to ask if you feel like there's something that you want to add to make your meal a little bit healthier. They're usually willing to make that adjustment for you. All right, so wrapping up, we've talked about focusing on food groups. So you want to try to get, about 3 food groups per plate. If you can do more, that's awesome, but not required. You can use the tools that are available to you. So in the dining halls, we have Build Your Plate, which has all the nutrition information available. But all of these retail locations have their menus available online as well. So if you want to plan ahead of time and look it up and see what's healthy in that location, you can do that. It's pretty widely available to be able to look that up online. And then nutrition labels are really helpful, especially in the dining hall. In the dining halls, we have the heart healthy labels that can make eating healthy just as easy as anything else. And then you want to think of how you can boost the nutrition quality of your meal. So adding any kind of food groups that maybe aren't normally in that food. For me personally, this isn't really eating out, but I'll buy a frozen pizza from the grocery store. I'll usually get like cheese, and I will buy whatever veggies that I like to have on my pizza and chop it up and throw it on before I put it in the oven. And it's a really great way to add some veggies to your overall meal if you weren't planning on having them anyways. And then I also like to take fruit and make sure the fruit takes up some of the space on my plate so that I'm not filling my entire plate with the pizza. Another option is paying attention to portions, and I kind of just covered that. So, I'm filling my plate with the parts that are filled with vitamins and minerals and are helping me reach those food group goals, and then putting the stuff that maybe is a little bit of a splurge in the smaller areas of my plate. And then we're also going to be checking in on our hunger and fullness. Our wonderful dietetic intern, Elizabeth, Betsy, is going to be talking about mindful eating, and I think we're going to be talking about that quite a bit. But if you've never sat in the dining hall or in your apartment or dorm and just ate your meal without any distractions, looking at your phone, watching YouTube or TV, give it a try, see how it feels. I can pretty much guarantee that you are going to notice your food a whole lot more. It's probably going to be a lot more enjoyable, or not as good because you're realizing that you don't actually like whatever food you just put on your plate. But it can also help you check in with how you're feeling. So you'll notice yourself getting fuller over the course of the meal. And after a couple of times, your body will kind of recognize, okay, this is when it's time to stop. But if you're distracted by the latest YouTube video, you don't really notice those cues as much. So yeah, that is all the stuff I have for you guys today. This is our contact info if you have any more questions separately, but we can also answer questions here as well. I'm going to unmute you, Betsy. We'll try to. There we go.
I just wanted to make a comment since you mentioned my presentation for next week, this is a great segue. There is a portion during that presentation where I'd like us all to practice mindful eating. And so if everyone could have a snack or something for the presentation next week, just so that we can practice what that's like. Definitely do it between now and then. Great advice, but we will be intentionally doing it next week during the presentation.
Cool. Yeah, if you couldn't hear her, Betsy was saying to bring a snack with you to the next meeting, because we're going to be trying out some mindful eating when she does her presentation next week.
Great job, Mariah. That was a really good presentation. We do have just a couple of questions. The first one is, where can you get granola in the dining halls?
So it depends on the location, but I'm pretty sure the granola is with the rest of the cereal in the dispensers. So it's different in all the dining halls, like I said, but Bolton has cereal dispensers upstairs and downstairs. The granola might also be at the salad station though. Do you know, Catherine?
Yeah, so in a typical school year, it's on the yogurt bar, and that's what we had a manager meeting last week, and they were talking about adding back, instead of the yogurts to go, putting yogurt on the salad bars in bulk. And so they're going to have the granola next to the yogurt, but you might find it in a cereal bin as well. That's one of the things that we'll be exploring over the next week to kind of see where the managers put it so that we can give you that information accurately. The other one's not really a question, but it's a comment that the last time they checked, they don't have grilled options at Tate. And I know that that was true for all of fall. We had a problem with social distancing in the kitchen at Chick-Fil-A. And so in order to make sure that the employees were staying further apart, they had to streamline production. And one of the things they decided to do was to just serve the crispy sandwich. Mariah, do you know if that's changed for spring?
I didn't check into that, no.
Yeah, but that's something that, yeah, I was gonna say we can look into that.
I can look into that and we'll update you guys in the next class, if you don't know by the time we meet again.
Another comment was that Panda Express has Mighty Greens. So that sounds delicious. I haven't tried it, so I'll have to check that out too. And I think that's it. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, I think then we're good then. Make sure that you guys tune in next week. And like we already said, Betsy is going to be doing a great presentation on some mindful eating. If you haven't heard of that before, it's a great intuitive eating skill that helps you make sure that you're honoring your hunger cues and getting the right portions for you. Some people have used it as a technique to lose weight. It has been effective for that, but that's not really why you have to, focus in on the presentation next week. Because just being mindful can help us with all sorts of different aspects with nutrition, like in terms of what we put on our plate, or looking at things like nutrient values and nutrient density, as well as making sure that we're getting enough or not getting too much. So be sure to tune in next week, and that's what we'll do.
Yes, and I also wanted to say, if you have missed any of the previous classes, we sent out the link for the first class, and if you check your email, it should be there, and you'll just have to answer a few questions and you can get credit for the first class. And then the second class link will go out sometime soon. We are almost done editing that one.
Okay, well, everybody have a good night.